You are Locked On Tigers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And we welcome you into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Rietma, fired up to be with you and fired up for a Tigers series win. It would have been nice to get a sweep against the lowly White Sox, but hey, the offense puts up 9 runs in the first 2 innings of this one, and they get it done. I am your host, Jake Rietma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma, formerly with 97.1 The Ticket, now with Locked On Tigers postcast, and fired up to be with you on these live Locked On Tigers postcasts, your one-stop destination for all things Detroit postcast. So Locked On Sports Detroit on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and tell a friend about Locked On Sports Detroit. Today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. As always, we thank you for making Locked On Tigers postcast a part of your day, your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Bear with me for just a moment. We're working through a little mic issue here, and stay tuned as we try to troubleshoot live on the air. We love when that happens. Maybe we're a little rusty because I appreciate everybody tuning into this edition of Locked On Tigers postcast. Had the family in town for the last couple of days, so missed the first 2 games of this series. But hey, back with you and better than ever, and fired up to be, as always, with you on Locked On Tigers postcast. So let me just check one more thing before we get into it, because again, the offense was fantastic today. And there we go. I think we're back and better than ever with our mic situation all ready to go. How about that? A little live IT action on the air. And we welcome everybody that's watching on YouTube. So we'll get to those comments in just a moment. But when I sat down to watch today's game, and admittedly, I box score watched the last 2 games, or the first 2 games of this series. So looking at this series as a whole, today was just a game you had to get. You couldn't lose a 5th consecutive series, with the 5th being to the lowly Chicago White Sox. And credit to the offense, credit to the table setters that set the tone from the very beginning, Matt Vierling. And how about Colt Keith? A 4-hit day for Colt Keith, a triple away from the cycle, had 2 chances to get it, which was really exciting to watch, but gets the lowly single there in his final at-bat to complete the 4-hit day, but a 2-run homer to get this thing going. And I see everybody in the comments, and I was going to get there, but yes, this offense is so unpredictable. It's either shut out or every now and then they just break out in the biggest of ways, and that's what we saw today. It was again, 2 very poor offensive outputs in the first 2 games of this series, followed by a breakout in today's game. But again, at the risk of sounding overly optimistic, and if you watch on a consistent basis, you know that's not somebody I am, that I call it how I see it. Today was a good day, and then good hitting can be contagious, and it kind of is that rinse and repeat from last weekend's game, 8 days ago against the Houston Astros. I believe that one was on Saturday, today being Sunday, where it's just like, why can't this be bottled up and utilized on a more consistent basis, or seen on a more consistent basis? Because it's in there. It's in there. But at the same time, you think, all right, and I know they touched on this on the broadcast. I put this in my notes that regarding Scott Harris's comments of, hey, we knew this offense was going to be unpredictable. We knew they were going to be inconsistent, and that's okay. And that's just where I disagree. You know, if it almost makes it feel worse to me if you felt like this offense was going to be so inconsistent, and they could maybe, I don't know, benefit from having a veteran bat, one more veteran bat like JD Martinez, like Matt Chapman. I know we harp on those 2 guys just because they were available and landed elsewhere, and Chris Ilitch, Scott Harris, and the rest of the organization didn't make any kind of move to try and go get those guys. But again, you know what? I'm not going to complain and moan. Well, it could use another word that begins with the letter B about this team when the offense puts forth 16 hits, 11 runs. Like I said, 5-run first inning, 9 runs in through two innings, and put the finishing touches on a much needed series win. And Benetti made a good point that, hey, you would have loved to get a sweep today or a sweep in this series, but a win today is important. And you take 5 out of 6 against the White Sox for the first 6 games against them this series or this season. So not always, the exclamation point exactly emphatic 6-0 against a team, but in Major League Baseball, it's hard to win 6 out of 6 against a team. So 5 out of 6 for the year. And Reese Olson, we'll talk more about him in the second segment, but not back-to-back starts now where he's returned to form. And you don't want to put too much stock into a really solid outing against a really bad White Sox team. But at the end of the day, he went out there and pitched really, really well. Scoreless through 6, ran out of steam a little bit there in the 7th. But that said, Will Vest could have helped out a little bit more. And I know Reese Olson put him in a tough spot there with 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, but Vest got the harder out. He got the strikeout, so all he needed was 1 more out and gives up the 2-run single there to I believe it was to Nicky Perez. Let me just make sure that's who it was. Nicky Lopez, sorry. Yeah. So he gets Nicky Lopez gets the 2-run single for the White Sox, only 2 runs. But hey, it's a series win for the Tigers. They're 1st and 5, now 36 and 41. Not totally. I don't want to talk about wild card and playoff set scenarios and everything when this is the first series they've won in 5 series, but 5 games out of a wild card spot, 36 and 41, 5 games below 500, 18 and 20 at home with the Phillies coming to town. That's right. That's going to be a tough series indeed. So let's get to the comments. S-Dog leads us off. His first comment on the day. So hard to root for this team right now. 2 runs, then 1 run, then 11 runs against the worst team in the American League. Truly hope this offseason they at least try to get better. And that's exactly right, S-Dog, because it feels like there's no effort to taking this team to the next level, to elevating. And yes, I understand rebuilds have incremental steps. And maybe if you want to look at it, hey, we repaired the pitching staff and working on the bullpen, and there's pieces there that you can believe in. The offense will come next. But I don't buy into that. I think if there's significant progress to be made in rapid. I mean, look at the Kansas City Royals. They turned it around in a year. Why can't that be us? So, S-Dog, I agree with you. It is hard to root for this team. And as I remind us almost every single episode, it feels like, hey, it's a 162 game season. And let's just hope we went through the worst of it there with the 4 previous losing series, with the sweep in Atlanta as the final exclamation point on that really, really bad stretch of baseball. But series losses to the Brewers, to the Nationals, to the Astros, and the sweep at the hands of the Braves. That was a tough stretch of baseball for the Tigers. Tough 12-game stretch for the Tigers to lose 4 consecutive series. But other comments, Jason Walter, our weekly offense game. Yeah, it's I know you can't do this, but it feels like you just want to be like, guys, could we just maybe if we're going to average whatever it is, 4 runs and change per game, maybe actually score 4 runs and change per game to have a chance instead of going 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 12 or whatever they scored today, 11. And, it's just it's a weird game. That's the best way to put it. But Colt Keith being interviewed right now on the post game, I think if we were doing studs and duds, he would certainly be our stud. What a day for Colt Keith. And again, he got it started in the first inning, but 4 hits, 4 for 5, 3 runs scored, 3 RBI, had the home run, and had the just kind of got this team going, I would say, with that home run in the first inning. Other guys that hit home runs, Riley Greene, kind of when it was a 6-0 game, had that 3-run shot to really put it out of reach, his 15th of the season. And I said this in the description of today's video that Riley Greene should be the Tigers All-Star. And I know All-Star voting is going on right now. So if you find it within you, then go ahead and vote for Riley Greene, because I think he would be a very solid representative of the Detroit Tigers at the All-Star game at Globe Life Field in Arlington. Let's see who else. Akil Baddoo had a 2-run homer, and that was in the first inning. So you got to give him credit as well, being part of that ambushing for the Tigers with 5 runs in that first inning, followed up by 4 more in the second. And Zach McKinstry had the one late there as well for his second home run of the season. And again, the triple by Vierling to get it going and really just chase Jonathan Cannon from this game. And Cannon was coming off of a really, really good start his last time out. And very young guy, obviously, in his rookie season. But he was coming off a game, and I believe that was just recently on the 18th, yes, against the Astros, where he went 8 2/3 and did not give up a run. So 8 2/3 scoreless was his last time out. And then here he comes 5 days later, and the Tigers score 5 runs on him in the first inning. So that just shows how crazy of a game baseball is. But we'll talk about Reese Olson's start, break this one down, and look ahead to the series against the Philadelphia Phillies. So maybe something for the Tigers to build off of here after, and I know it's the White Sox, but hey, they're on the schedule. You got to figure out a way to beat them. You would have loved a sweep, but you'll take a series win. Tigers go 5-1 against the White Sox in the first 6 games of this season. We'll break down Reese Olson's start in just a moment. Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. That's right. Prize Picks offers all kinds of ways to get in the game and make it exciting. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. Now, you don't have to play against 50 other people and a bunch of sharks or anything like that. No, all you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. And what I love about it is you can get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community. Just like we've got a Locked On Tigers postcast community, there's a great Prize Picks community as well. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into 1,000. And if you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has you covered every week, from lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Forgiveness, how about that from Prize Picks? And I know with the finals over, the hoops action doesn't have to stop on Prize Picks. We got the WNBA women's basketball still heating up. Stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make names for themselves alongside greats like Brianna Stewart and Asia Wilson. You too could win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. Prize Picks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So don't waste any more time. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB and Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And that's right. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. That's right. I love sports and I love them so, so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games. The NBA Finals are over. One more game left in the Stanley Cup playoffs. How about Edmonton coming all the way back to force a Game 7, the 2 best words in sports, Game 7. But when Monday night's game concludes, don't you worry. And the sports aren't sportsing like that. That's okay. FanDuel lets you keep the sports going whenever you want. All I have to do is open that app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Don't let the lack of sports get you down. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, welcome back to Locked On Tigers Postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma, and AJ Hinch is at the podium right now. I've got it to my right, but we don't have the volume on because then I'd be talking and AJ Hinch would be talking and we'd just be going at it like that. So I'll go back and rewatch that and see what he had to say. But before we get to Reese Olson's outing, a couple more comments to get into. My main man, Adam Cullum. Let's go. It's offense we needed. Colt Keith, in my opinion, had his breakout game. Yeah, 4 hits, that's for sure. Riley Greene was really good. 3-run homer, absolutely. Olson was dominant. Sadly, those 2 runs were charged to his ERA. Yeah, I talked about that a little bit in the open. It would have been nice if Will Vest in second and third to not, and that's a reliever's job, come in second and third, 1 out. He gets the strikeout, which is so puzzling because then you just need to get 1 more out to prevent those runs from scoring, but unfortunately to no avail because the runs came in with Nicky Lopez getting that 2 RBI single. So bummer that Reese Olson gets charged with those 2 runners. Would have been nice to see him go 6 1/3 with no earned runs, but 6 1/3 with 2 earned runs. Demetrius McNeil, my man, he says they won the series, but this is no time to rest. The Phils are coming for sure. Yeah. And I think if somehow, some way the Tigers can carry this momentum and take 2 or 3 from the Phils, then maybe we do have something to talk about here. But I think I'm not alone in saying that this weekend was nice for sure to get a series because, like I said, it's the first series in 5 tries. But I don't think anybody is saying this team is so back and now all of a sudden we've got a lot to be proud of. It just is part of the unpredictable, as we've called it in the past, a dysfunctional relationship, toxic relationship at times where you love this Tigers team. You love the offense. 11 runs today, 9 runs in 2 innings, a 5-run first inning to ambush a really good pitcher. Then, it's just the way it's been traditionally, or at least with historical data this season. Now they'll go into the witness protection program and never be seen for the next couple of days. So that said, at least we have something to look at with this series against the Phillies that, hey, maybe we can go get a series from a really good ball club. Other comments, at least Mark Canha did not go hitless today from Adam Cullum. Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. An interesting point here from Adam Cullum. I think it's a good point because I was looking back at Matt Vierling's strikeout to end that game, saying that we got screwed. The home plate umpire called a ball, extension ladders off the plate. Yeah, it was a ways out. And Matt Vierling was really upset with that, saying, you got to be kidding me, or whatever the audio was, not to direct quote because I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was pretty upset. Could have had a shot at putting up good swings. Yeah, I watched the last couple of innings of yesterday's game, but you just can't put yourself in that hole against a really, really bad team for the White Sox. But Reese Olson today, also part of the story. He gets just his 2nd win of the season, and that's back-to-back starts now where you feel good about the output that he put forth because against the Braves, it was 6 innings of 0 earned runs, and then today 6 1/3 with those last 2 runs being charged to him. But 2 back-to-back starts from Reese Olson that you think, okay, he's back, he feels pretty good, compared to when he got shelled against the Brewers with the 8 earned runs in that 10-0 loss on June 7th, followed by that loss 7-5 to the Nationals, where he was roughed up for 4 earned runs in 5 1/3. On June 12th, though back-to-back starts, and even the Boston start at the beginning of June, you could throw in there as well. But better start today, and then, yeah, the bullpen's going to go down with no runs given up. But again, not to harp on it too much with Will Vest, because he did come in and he got that strikeout for the 2nd out of the 7th, but after that gives up the 2-run single. Then Tyler Holton pitches the 8th, and Joey Wentz pitches the 9th, and the Tigers get the 11-2 win over the Chicago White Sox to move to 36-41, 18-20 at home. So I don't want to do the this is the game, this is the series that turns it all around, and we are so back. But at the same time, you had to go out and win a series, especially after yesterday. And today in a vacuum, just looking at Sunday, June 23rd, you feel good about the offensive output and the pitching performance from Reese Olson. And maybe that's just as simple as we make it. I don't want to shed any other negativity out there on other things surrounding the Detroit Tigers. We won't look at Spencer Torkelson's AAA stats because it's been really, really bad as of late. We won't talk about Kenta Maeda from yesterday. It probably was a good thing that I was not on the air yesterday. And again, appreciate everybody tuning in today. If you missed me, I had family in town. We're entertaining the nieces and nephew and the whole crew, brothers in town. Don't get to see them very often. And boy, we had a great weekend together as family. So just wanted to throw that in there and appreciate everybody sticking in with me today here on a Sunday. All right, other comments to get to from S-Dog. Well, we only gave up 2 runs in each of the first 2 games against the Braves, and the Braves have a good offense. We might lose, but I think we could be close games. Our pitching is that good. Yeah, let's hope, because again, this is the series where maybe today, the way this one finished, it sets up the opportunity to, hey, let's really go try to make a sincere last-ditch effort at getting back into the wild card conversation and playing some good baseball and put the worst behind us in that month of June, the way the beginning of this month played out with losing 4 straight series. So maybe, and I may sound a little overly optimistic there with that hope, but, I don't think it's too far-fetched either to say, hey, if the Tigers somehow, some way show that they can take a series from a good team like the Phillies, then maybe we're back in. Maybe they reel you in like they always do, like that crazy ex-girlfriend that we're comparing this Tigers team. At least the season of 2024 with this Tigers team has been like that. I love her. I don't love her. She's great. I can't stand her. I need her. I don't need her. She's terrible for me. She's good for me. That's kind of where we're at with this Tigers team. All right. Let's go ahead and take one more break. We'll look ahead to the projected starters for the weekend and talk about the upcoming schedule after that. Don't go anywhere. One more segment to go on Locked On Tigers POSTCAST. All right, fired up to tell you about Supply House and supplyhouse.com. That's right. Order supplies from the website that's made for the skilled trades. Find thousands of parts from hundreds of brands in just a couple of clicks at supplyhouse.com. They make your life easy. That's what I love about it. Kind of like today, after the Tigers scored 9 runs in the first 2 innings. You can kick your feet up knowing life is good. Supplyhouse.com gives you 24/7 access to huge selections of plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with fast delivery anywhere in the U.S. If you need help with an order, don't you worry. You can get industry-leading after-sales service from their friendly and knowledgeable customer support team. And I love this part. Talk to a real person every time. It's not like you're talking to a robot like when Scott Harris addresses the team. No, you talk to a real person every time. And there's great news for plumbers, technicians, and contractors. Being a pro has its perks. Trade industry professionals can join their free Trade Master program for free shipping and serious discounts on every order. Over 100,000 pros already trust Trade Master program to deliver results. Apply for your membership today and get a competitive edge on every order at supplyhouse.com/TM. Save money and save time when you order online. Order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right, you look at the upcoming pitching matchup for the series against the Philadelphia Phillies. Casey Mize will go in the first game. That's tomorrow, so no off day tomorrow. And Tuesday night's pitching matchup might be as good as it gets so far, especially when you got one of the best in the National League against a Cy Young candidate in the American League and Tarek Skubal. Ranger Suarez, 10-1 on the season for the Phillies, 1.75 ERA, 95 strikeouts against Tarek Skubal, 8-3, 2.5 ERA, 105 strikeouts, 2 of the best. That's the type of pitching matchup that you circle on your calendar. It'll be appointment viewing. You won't want to miss that. Adam Cullen makes a good comment here regarding the Phillies offense. Yeah, they are loaded. There's a lot of guys that can beat you. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, the list goes on and on and on. And the Phillies have been so good that this will be a test. This will be a test. But again, that's what you want. Phillies 51-26. Insane. They had a stretch where they were 18-3 in a 21-game span. Just insane. And then the finale on Wednesday, that'll be a day game. Spencer Turnbull, our old friend from the Detroit Tigers, will go for the Phillies. So Spencer Turnbull, it'll be good to see him on the mound for the Phillies. Had not necessarily some iconic moments for the Tigers, but certainly a guy that you remembered and had the no-hitter. So, you know what? It's a guy that it'll be good to see him back at Comerica Park. So, fun series ahead, but the Tigers get the win today over the White Sox in lopsided fashion, 11-2 over the White Sox. Appreciate everyone being back with me today on Locked On Tigers. Home runs from Colt Keith, who had a 4-hit day. He was a cycle away from he was a triple away from the cycle. Let's try that again. Akil Baddoo went yard in the first inning, his second of the year. And then, of course, Riley Greene hit his 15th, a 3-run shot, and Colt Keith hit his 4th off the starter, Jonathan Canyon, who they chased from the game early, only went 1 inning and allowed 7 hits, 5 earned runs, and just had the 1 strikeout. So great offensive performance. Let's hope, my goodness, that the same thing doesn't happen that's happened in the past. Tigers score a bunch of runs and then the offense goes silent. Let's pray they can use this momentum, follow it up with an outing against a really good team in the Philadelphia Phillies tomorrow. 3-game series at Comerica Park to finish up the homestand. After that, the Tigers hit the road and will be on the road against the Angels. Those will be some later games, but the Angels at least start their games at 6:40, so it'll be and so 6:40 turns into 9:40 Eastern time. So Angels, and then that's a 4-game series, so they will play on Thursday. And then over the weekend, that's the weekend series. The following week will be Tigers against the Twins in Minnesota with that off day on Monday. So they'll play the Twins Tuesday, July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on the Thursday. So there you go. Finish up the homestand against the Phillies. Then a trip to California to take on the Angels, and continuing the 7-game road trip with 3 against the Twins. But hey, let's get all eyes on this upcoming series. Maybe this Tigers team can show us something and get us and reel us back in like they love to do. Reel us back in. All right. That said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in as always. And one more comment from Adam Cullen here. Turnbull better when he goes to Philly. The only good moment he had for us was his no-hitter. Yeah, there you go. I think that's a good place to stop because let's see, what is his record? 3-0, 2.63 ERA, 56 strikeouts. So yeah, he has been better for the Phillies. But thanks everybody for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to be on the air. Make sure you check out Locked On Tigers postcast with Scott Bentley. Check out the 24/7 Locked On stream. You can get it free and available on the Amazon Fire TV app. Locked On Sports is here for you 24/7. And good to see the Tigers back in the win column, albeit against the lowly White Sox, but first series win in their last 5. And after all that bad baseball that was played, they're 5 games under 500, 36-41, and 5 games out of the last wild card spot. So hang in there, Tigers fans. We get a win today, and we get to watch Tarek Skubal and Ranger Suarez in game 2 of this series. Tomorrow for the Tigers, it's Casey Mize. We'll talk to you then. As always, make sure you subscribe to Locked On Tigers postcast. Tell a friend about it, and maybe this team will start to play some winning baseball, and it will be a lot of fun to talk about it. So, as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on Locked On Tigers postcast.